The Governor's Summit on Rural Prosperity started last night and ended today around 5 p.m. with a farewell reception. The summit was presented by the Virginia Rural Center and was held at the Stonewall Jackson Inn and Conference Center in Stanton, Virginia. The conference included a long list of prominent, knowledgeable experts, politicians, and state employees, including Virginia Governor Ralph Northam. They discussed issues facing rural Virginians. Here's Virginia State Senator Sen Hanger explaining what takes place at the summit.
Several years now, the Center for Rural Virginia, which I chair, has worked cooperatively with the administration and have basically a governor's summit on rural issues. And what we've found, and it's grown over the years, this one we had a sellout crowd here in Stanton. Basically, we gather people from all over the state that have interest in rural economic development and quality of life in rural areas, and we talk about policy issues that are current. And from that, we gather ideas for initiatives, working collaboratively with local government stakeholders throughout the state. So this year is no exception. A lot of emphasis this year on healthcare, agriculture, transportation, as we just came out of a session on transportation. So all of the hot button issues that are of interest.
Virginia's Secretary of Transportation, Shannon Valentine, spoke about the issues of major backups and congestion on Interstate 81.
We conducted an 81 corridor study. It was based on legislation that came out this year, SB 971, and it directed us to look at the 81 corridor, to look at the improvements along the corridor that would be necessary to maintain and keep and move it forward as a true economic driver in the Commonwealth.
Valentine presented a study alongside Deputy Secretary Nick Donahue on possible solutions to the problems up and down the I-81 corridor.
It's not a fun place to be.
81 is reliably unreliable, very difficult to plan.
So we have several things that we've developed. The first is a suite of operational improvements here, and I would love to say the capital improvements I'm going to get into later would make it so there's never going to be a crash or an incident on 81 again in the future, but that wouldn't be true. There's human behavior, weather, and other things. What these operational improvements are about is making sure that when there's an incident, it is cleared faster. If you are driving on 81, we tell you about it so you don't get stuck in that queue. So instead of going around 70 and rounding the curve and seeing brake lights, there's a sign before you round that curve that says, please get off the interstate. Bad things lie ahead. And then you can get off the interstate with a bunch of your friends, and we'll then make improvements to the parallel route so that when we've asked you to all get onto Route 11 for 5 or 6 miles, we've upgraded the signals, we've put in new turn lanes, and things of that nature, so that when you do that, it's going to be a little bit slower than if 81 was working better, but it's still faster than what happens today when you get off there.
Funding for the improvements and changes could come in a number of ways. Increases in taxes or some form of tolling drivers, but not in the traditional sense. The presentation mentioned purchasing a sticker or adding the corridor to a current Easy Pass as one of the ways to pay for the proposed improvements.
But what could be really helpful to us is that the sticker approach is actually kind of the next generation of what an Easy Pass could look like. Today we spend between about $750 and $1750 on Easy Pass, depending on whether it's standard or flex. The cost of a sticker is about $1.50. So the whole transaction cost, it would allow us to use 81 as a pilot and how that could actually work.
Senator Hanger says that funding and delay are the two biggest obstacles standing in the way of major improvements to the interstate.
But we should have done this years ago. 15, 16 years ago, I had a resolution, a bill to basically move us forward then because we recognized there were problems. Funding is the real issue, where we've got to come to grips with the fact that because of the declining value of the dollars, that the increased economy of the vehicles in terms of fuel usage, that we've had a declining resource to provide maintenance and for new capacity for our interstate system and indeed our entire network of infrastructure throughout the state. So that's the real issue. We know what we need to do kind of now. It's just a matter of having the resolve to pay for it, and I think we'll get there. I feel a sense of momentum building that is critical from a safety standpoint, from lost time, and from economic development, that we come up with a funding source to adequately develop Interstate 81 and other important corridors in rural Virginia.
For more information and footage from the summit, you can visit the Virginia Rural Center's Facebook page. In Stanton, Virginia, Theodore Whitelow, Breaking Through News.